Cool. Yeah, so my name is Martin Nadal. Yeah, I'm an artist and I deal with technology, and that is what I do usually. So today, I'm going to present like some works, and I'm also going to bring like some concepts about artificial intelligence. For me, like the one that fascinates me pretty much is the latent space. I was like in the previous talk, and they were like also talking about it, and we will try to have like understanding a little bit more and how those latent spaces are built. But like the first slide is like, basically it's like introducing what I'm going to talk about. That is like, it doesn't make any sense to talk about digital capitalism without talking about financial capitalism. And that's because I've been like exploring and doing some artworks related with financialization. And I would like also to present like in some way, to introduce my other work. And the first work I would like to introduce is called Money Never Sleeps, and this is an exercise I did back in university. And it's like a work that I didn't show so much because I was kind of shy of it, but I think it's a very nice work. I don't know, it's like, I don't know, so I would like to show it. So in these tangible interfaces, we were doing an exercise about the, rethinking different interfaces, no? And as I said, I was like very fascinated since always about economy and financialization, and I was like, maybe we could think a little bit about how are like the interface of the stock markets, because at the end the stock markets is what shapes a lot of things in our life, no? And we have like this idea of people that are like super clever and they're like on their own, smoking cigars, doing whatever. That is like how movies present it. The truth is that it's something like this, and they're like, they really don't know what they're doing. That's my feeling. But then I found an article that said, like, did cocaine-use banker cause the global financial crisis? For me, that was very interesting, because I come from Spain and I got hit by the financial crisis, no? And so basically what the article says is maybe like that overconfidence, it was powered by cocaine, basically, no? So there were like more articles. Also Bernie Madoff, that is like the guy that ran like the biggest, like, how do you call it, like Ponzi scheme, so was like using, so maybe it's true. There was like some other articles, so I came with this I wanted to show, because all those decisions had like affect a lot, like those bets, that money so happily investing in real estate, at the end, usually there's like some people that suffer, so it was interesting. So maybe we had to rethink like this interface, no? So I came with this idea of doing like some sort of very traditional stock market interface, but it had like a mirror, and it had like the main markets in the world, and how you interface with that was making lines of cocaine, and depending the length, it was like more or less money. With the dial, you could choose like the different stock that you want to buy or sell, and depending how you snort it, you would buy or sell it. So this is how we, so they let me build that in the university, and they were like, because in Austria there's like laws that say that I cannot promote any sort of use of drugs, so they, I have to say that it was glucose, and we never pretended to promote anything, and So we built like I built a prototype, and this is me, and this is like the photograph. If you look, Martin Nadal, Linz University, bam, this is my photo. So and this is a video to show you how it works. It has sound. could choose there, like, which one. And that's the bell, yeah, when you, so, old project, but yeah, nice. So I would like to show, yeah, so basically like the device, it really worked. So this is something, it was like with a very cheap PlayStation 3 camera, and it has like an infrared light, and this is like the stages of how we process the image to be able to measure. Like in the last one, that is called like segmentation, so you know how big is the line that you are going to inhale, or yeah. So this is also another diagram, yeah, of how you use it. Is like you start like snorting, and this is like a finite state, machine, and you are like doing through the different states. This is like another, so this is about financialization. This is another project that is called Bittercoin. Bittercoin, of course, is about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was also very fascinating for me because how people could pay money for numbers. And there was like, at the end was always like the construction of value is a topic that I've been like dealing with, and I thought, and I think it's very interesting, construction of value in whatever realm. So blockchain, we already know what is blockchain, and hopefully we will forget soon, who knows. But blockchain that was like running the world, and you don't know, I don't know, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it required like mining, and mining, it was consuming a lot of energy, and it was like, consuming even like levels of different countries. Now it's like much more, but, I thought, but here we are. And so what we, me and my friend César, I mean, he's with the set, what we developed was a calculator that was trying to calculate new Bitcoins. So it was called Bittercoin, the worst miner ever, and the idea that is the worst miner ever is because we read like the white paper and we designed it. There's like windows of 10 minutes to do hashes. And the calculator, it takes exactly 10 minutes, so it's impossible to do it worse than that. So, that was like on purpose. And yeah, like there's like another video, So the calculator, it really is a Bitcoin miner. So it's like, yeah. He would mine like a Bitcoin in 11 million years, but I also like this project. It's like, yeah, and also with my colleague like César Escudero. So it's like that is like the starting point. I'm like very interested in that, in that idea of construction of value. And this is a photograph of how it was like we really wanted to keep like an original calculator, and we put like some microcontrollers inside. And yeah, this is like how it's inside. It was controlled with a mobile phone because, it's like to connect, to do like all the connections. It's a work that is still being exhibited, which is nice. I think that is cool. And it has been exhibited for a long time, I think like 15 times, like pretty few times. It was in ZKM, it was like a time. And also what happened in 2018 was something very funny, that in 2018, I think like Bitcoin crashed, but not enough, just a little bit, unfortunately. So what happened, it was like very difficult to make money out of mining Bitcoins, no? So, like, for example, this that was like the latest model back then, it took like 430 years to recoup the money that people had invested in that miner. And it was very funny because in the total ranking of miners, our miner that was meant to be the worst, it was in the 4th place or 5th place. Of course, he didn't make any Bitcoin, but at least it was burning energy slower than the rest. So it was, and that is like, for me, it's amazing that you're like trying, that these things happen, so that you're like on purpose trying to do it like super wrong and everything completely the opposite. And even though it's not the worst, it's like we always manage to do it even worse. Yeah. Another project, sorry that I think I chose like a lot of, well, I will introduce another project, Death of Things. I'm like with, playing, this project starts with these 28 lines of code. And the code, what it does is it tells if someone is alive or dead. It checks in Wikipedia if someone is dead, if someone is alive or dead. This is, this is an old, because like there's like some people that are dead that back then were alive. And yeah, so this is like the project Death of Things, of course playing with the concept of Internet of Things, objects, and how do, making a connection in the human life and how the system treats like human lives, and how people die. So there's like, we had like these 2 figurines, the Queen Elizabeth and the Pope, with a microcontrollers also. It was very nice because the Queen Elizabeth had like a counter and I could tell exactly how many seconds she was alive when she was alive, because it was very well documented. She was born at this time, this day, whatever. And so it was like doing, I have another video, 1 minute video. Yeah, so it were like, the figurines were like moving, they were like working, and constantly the microcontroller was checking if that person was alive, and in the moment that that person was not alive anymore, the figurine would stop and the object would die, So, yeah, one of the 2 is not working now, but yeah, and yeah, like a very, very low budget projects, always, yeah. So this is like another, like the Pope. This is like the Raspberry Pope. I thought it was very funny. I always put it like, yeah. So now machine learning and interfacial, that is like the festival, the topic of the festival. So machine learning, for me, this is the first slide. This is what explains what is machine learning. Usually when we were coding, we were like giving rules, giving data, and we were expecting answers. Now with machine learning, it's like you give the data, you give the answers, and the machine is able to try to find like some rules. So like the first project I did with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, is called salvapatrias. Salvapatrias is a Spanish word. I put the translation. It means like homeland saver. It's a term that is used ironically to describe politicians and public figures that present themselves as the sole savers of a nation in times of crisis. It's a skeptical. I try always to be kind of sarcastic in my projects. Yeah, and this is one of them. So this project starts when once I was back then I was like living in Austria. I moved to Austria after the crisis of the first project we did. I showed you, and then I go back and then I see that everything. Like I am from Madrid and it's full of flags of Spain, and I'm with my girlfriend. I'm saying like I don't remember the city was this way. I don't know what has happened, and what had happened there was like a Catalonia that tried to, like independence, basically also like the construction of a nation. That also, as I think, is always very interesting. For me, what is fascinating when we, in some way, also is the construction of value, why we are like different and what we are like not so different. Well, so people got very angry on both sides. Me, that I'm not living there, didn't get angry at all. Yeah, so, and it comes like this sentence that is like a flag symbolizes both belonging and exclusion. Like, a flag also unites people, but also draws like a very nice line saying who belongs and who doesn't. No? And I thought that was like very interesting because people at the end, they are like very similar. No, I see people are pretty the same all around the world. No, so. Yeah, in the Partido Popular, that is a right-wing party. Now we have more right-wing parties, but that one, it was pretty right-wing back then. It was like with the Spanish flag, I was like playing with Photoshop, like how would be if they had like the the other flag, the Catalonian flag, the Estelada. And back then there was like this paper that is called Ciclegan, and it was like a machine learning paper that it could transform with 2 styles, and the example was like a horse, being transformed into a zebra. And I thought it would be fascinating to transform like a Spanish nationalist into a Catalonian nationalist, or a Catalonian nationalist into a Spanish nationalist. So I made like a lot of synthetic data. This is how, well, I think I'm not going to show this video if it's possible, because it's not so important. So I did, at the end, it's like I did a filter that I could put like photographs, and it would change all the flags, no? So we could see like from the other side, and at the end see that it's basically like very, the same, no? So what happened, like my first approach to machine learning is I always wanted to do something that was like political meaningful for me. So yeah, that is like the project. This is like different, it was like, also it's like I usually when I do machine learning, when I do this stuff, it's like I never spend like 2 days the computer rendering or doing whatever. No. It's like this model was trained in, I think, like in 3 hours, like super fast, because I don't care so much about the quality of the image. Like I like that there's like some sort of concept in the artwork, and this is like exhibition. This one is the nicest that I like the most, and it's like like a mirrored image, and you can see that there's like 50% of like the confrontation, I guess. Yeah, I like it also. Yeah, and I even did like a movie, with some, taking pieces from the news. Yeah, so yeah, this is like a first approach I would about machine learning and art. And now I would like to explain like few concepts that is like what the talk was, what is like the topic of the talk, no? And it's explain a little bit what is like embedding and what is the latent space, no? Yeah, so embedding basically is like when you are able to transform, basically to mathematically represent a discrete object like a word, like a sentence, or even an image, or even like a sound, and put it in a this really I like it a lot, that in a multidimensional, high dimensionality space, no? So it's like, it's not a space with 3 dimensions, it has like lots of dimensions, maybe like 700 dimensions. I love that idea. At the end, we always represent it in 3 dimensions or even less, or we try to flatten to do maps like the previous, like a lot of words before. And also what is interesting is like there's like this transformation from an object to this vector, to this series of numbers, is done by the machine, and no human has to do the algorithm. If we go to the first slide about machine learning, it's very related with that. This is, we have object, one could be an image or a sound, and it gives like a series of numbers. Well, this is like very, very basic. And an example that shows very well this is these X degrees of, I think it's Mario Klingerman is the artist, and it's done by Google Art Experiments. And you can they put like a lot of images of cultural objects into the system. So every object has like different coordinates. So if you want to travel from one object to another object, it goes jumping, finding the closest path, and that's how it works. And so imagine that you have like a 2D map, and you're like, if you have here like the statue, and here you have the jar, you are like, the objects are on the way, no? That is also another project that I really like a lot, of Kyle MacDonald, that I think is in the festival, and in this case is of sound. They managed to cluster all the sounds of bird sounds. If you have the chance, and they sound very similar, they managed to cluster in similarity. Yeah, and then that is like what is called embeddings. Embeddings are like the precise coordinates, and then the latent space is like what is between those objects. That is like the universe where like all the embeddings live. That is like very poetic, but So we can see like this example of Rafik and Nadal. They have like tons of different images that they have flattened and put it in a 2D space. And latent space would be like the dark spaces between the different objects where the computer is able to imagine, to interpolate things. No? That is like, yeah, is that creativity? I don't know. I don't think, no. But so, yeah. And this is like one of the examples that is like also from Rafik and Nadal of the latent. Is like basically what it's doing, if we see like the previous slide, they have like different images and it's like going through the dark areas and the computer is interpolating and creating new images of New York. Yeah. Yeah, this is, so this is like, they took like images and they're like inventing, but also, okay. For me, there's like also another latent space that I like or I think is interesting, and is this project that is called This Person Doesn't Exist. It's a project of NVIDIA. They took, like, very similar to the Rafik and Nadal project, they took lots of images of people and they created this latent space. So every time you go to this web page, you will see a face of someone that doesn't exist. It's the interpolation of other people. No? So you have like this person that it doesn't exist, and then suddenly there's someone that does exist. No? This person exists is also an artist project that takes like all you know, the people that are behind that latent space, that they are like real people. Because sometimes we think like the ideas, concept, artworks and stuff, it comes from thin air, and no, there's people doing stuff. Usually, yeah. So this is like the project This Person Exists is like a project from the artist Matthias Schaffler, and it's like an artistic approach to exploring the large data set. I think it's very beautiful because, yeah, it gives you like another perspective of things that you consider, you know, that are like pretty amazing and very interesting, but saying like, hey, it comes from, you know, there is like, yeah, there's like people or images or stuff like that. Like is what NVIDIA did, what took like all the images that were like Creative Commons of Creative Commons, and they took like all the all the images, and they programmed this latent space with a style gun. And there's like lots of people. These are like the repository of people, so they're like taking off child, because, you know, before we thought that we were like sharing our photos and nobody, you know, things were like kind of okay, but no. So also that is like one latent space, and for me also that the one that fascinates me the most is massive latent private space. In this case, I'm talking of spaces that are private, that don't belong to us, that maybe we can play with it, but it's private. And there is like this infography made by Taller Estampa that is called, this project is very beautiful, and it's called Cartography of Generative AI. And what fascinates me them is like basically like a map, how these spaces are created. And for me, what I really think is very nice, or what caught my attention of this project, is these, you know, these three spaces that says like massive and private latent spaces, like statistical text, statistical images, and statistical sounds. Because now, from all the services that we have, like ChatGPT or Claude, whatever, we are basically what we are consuming is statistical text. It's like text that comes from a latent space that doesn't belong to us, but we don't know, but probably it's built using resources from our humanity or our society or from someone else. No, it's not clear, no? And also another thing that is important is like the reinforcement learning from human feedback. Like those spaces are not that suddenly the people from ChatGPT or whoever, they put like a lot of images and suddenly everything is working. There's like a lot of labor involved in that, cleaning the data, you know, censoring the data also, because, you know, it's like algorithms, they're not very sensible. Yeah, and there's like these steps I suggest you to check it, like that data scoring, annotating data, and so on. And this really reminds me to this movie from the 90s that is called Cube. You know, that image. And Cube, for the people that haven't seen the movie, it's a movie from the year 97, and it's like people that suddenly they wake up in a big cube with little cells, and they have to escape, or they have to transit through that escape. So I feel that there is like something that, I don't know, the first time I saw like the diagram, it resonated with me, like this movie. Yeah. So that is like one project, and then, that some idea, and then I'm going to talk about a project that is called FANGØ. FANGØ was funded, or I had like a residency from EMAP and Analysis Stegi also. It was like in 2020, so I didn't go to Analysis Stegi, but still they give me support, and I'm very happy and very thankful. And FANGØ stands from a face Amazon, Netflix, Google obfuscator. And what is that? Basically, what we, like the starting point is the idea of surveillance capitalism that also is in some way related with this. With the construction of private latent spaces, and it's like surveillance capitalism turned experience that occur in our private sphere of the human being into commodities that can be bought and sold. Yeah, I think that is very interesting. And for me, what I thought it was super interesting, and maybe this is not in the slide, but it's like Tinder and so on. They really don't want that you find someone that you have a good relationship. What they want is that you're like, the function to optimize is that you're like there as much as possible, no? Like going around in these applications, no? So yeah, I find very fascinating all that, like that relationship with love, algorithms, yeah. So also we are like working, I think both projects are related. This is like from Sensa Lab. It's a diagram of the use of the data collection in Facebook. And there's like this sentence like over 1 billion of Facebook users, they are digital workers, and they are like working like 20 minutes like giving likes. When we are like in Instagram giving likes and even like talking or doing like, commenting and so on, we are working for them. And now, for example, that Instagram plans to create like train their models with, Meta plans to train their models with the Instagram posts. So yeah, we are like giving them value, no? Also another concept is obfuscation, and there was like a previous project that is called That Museum, and it was like a way how to obfuscate our presence in the network so these big companies cannot extract value from our experiences. That is the purpose of this project of FANGØ, no? And what is FANGØ? FANGØ is like a defense weapon against, FANGØ is like a Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google obfuscator, and to say it in one sentence, is like a defense weapons against surveillance capitalism. And it is like a phone charger, but when you are charging it, it takes control of your phone and starts like giving random likes while you are not using it. So hoping that the big companies don't, in some way you are like adding a layer of noise to all the interactions that they are like extracting from you. And the data that they extract for you is like useless for them. That is the purpose of the project. This is how it's presented usually. So it's like this device, and it's controlling the screen. It's controlling the screen, and when it's under the control, it's basically like checking Instagram, Reddit, Amazon, looking for random objects, and in some ways kind of clever because it's able to swipe the images, and with the idea that neither Instagram knows really what interests you, because you are like during the day maybe you are like doing that something that interests you, but at night it's like the computer FANGØ takes control of it, and it's doing things completely different, no? It's like the project is like open source, and that was like the purpose of it always. It's like I've been approached, and also like the source code is for free in GitHub, and I was approached a few times, like saying maybe you could do like a project or a product of it, but I thought, and that's why I'm poor, I thought maybe capitalism cannot solve the problems of capitalism, no? So it's like, here I am. So this is like the different sketches that we had, and it was like covered by Vice. Like this was the first time it was exhibited also in Adafruit. That is a webpage that people like me like a lot. And also like in this book, there's like this, I always try to talk about Marta Peirano and this book that is in Spanish that is called El mío conoce el sistema. I don't know if there's like an English translation, but talks a lot, I learned a lot of from this book. This is like the, before we were doing like the charger, but with Onassis Stegi and EMAP, what I did was like a USB version of it. This is like drawings, this is how it looks. This is like in different exhibitions. This is in Book Messe last year. So I always play with the aesthetic of the shop for me, because we always find like super interesting and super attractive like this Facebook thing and all these logos. So I always try to make like little Apple stores This is like, like the project. And also the web page, that is FANGØ.martinadal, also plays with the same aesthetics. As you can see, like there's also like the STL, so you can print your own if you want. And also like the curator that helped me, I wanted to put it like if it was like a review, no? It's like I copied, I think like the web page of the Pixel or the iPhone, I don't remember very well, and I changed like the product for for this sort of my project. This is a video, but we are running out of time. Very nice. I like it a lot, but we can watch it at home. Well, we can watch it a little bit because it's pretty cool, but well, as you can see, like playing with the aesthetics, no? And also something very cool is that, once that I build the device, I'm based in Berlin, and I used it to find house, and it worked. I have a new house, I'm very happy. At least a rent I can pay. So it's like sometimes you do art projects, and you find like some sort of use of it. There's like last project, FANGØ. This one was like with Murat, that is like people in Graz in Austria that support me doing this project, and it's a continuation. And basically what it deals with, before we were talking about the interaction, but there's like other thing that is the image. Now we are like so used to, there's like a lot of free services that we can take our photograph and store it in the cloud for free theoretically, but maybe that, is not so clear. For example, in Amazon, terms of service is like they grant the right to improve their service with our information and with our photographs. Like there's like few articles that maybe there was like improving their facial recognition, deep learning artificial intelligence with with the images of the users. Also, Google is still not very clear, but it was like Google wants to help train this AI. I did like some research about Google Photo, but I didn't find anything. So what I did was ask to Gemini, and I said, does Google use my image that I save in Google Photos to train its recognition system? And it said, yes. Does they use and the photos to train its recognition systems? And it says like everything. And then I asked him, but I don't remember giving the right to do so. And they are like, you are correct. Which I think is very, very sincere and very, very nice. So I did this project, the last one, that is like, I was like, there's like this concept of an image, we break it in little pieces, we mess those pieces up, we store it in the cloud, and then when we want to see our photo, we disentangle, all those images, and we are able to consume it in our photo. What we want to do with that is like we want to parasite their infrastructures. That is like the main thing. So we can use like their services without them being able to extract value from our experiences. No? So this is like the example. There is like. How it works, I think, you have like an image, and you like the machine learning system says like, this is a person with a confidence of 99%. But if you cut it in little pieces, it says this is art with 94% of confidence, which is something very, that's how we would do things. And then, so, this solution, it doesn't work in the server. I mean, it's just when you are rendering the images. I think I explained it, this slide. So this is how it looks. It's like a web app. So you can connect it to Google Photos, and you can do wonderful photographs like this one of people super happy, artists nowadays, And then how it works is like it cuts in little pieces, and then it uploads to the to the server. And when you are going to watch it, it's able to cut it down to put it together. I don't have life. It's like I see this photograph and it's like, well, I do. But so when we are like in our web, we can see like the photos that we took is really super pathetic. These sort of photos, I don't know. It's like a project that is like ongoing, so it's usually me on my own, like testing stuff, no? But what is stored in the cloud is this. So they have like everything like sliced, and hopefully they would not be able, it's like they would not be able to extract value because they have a copy that is like in some way encrypted. So, wait, and then going back to the movie of Cube that we were talking before, where the people are inside this cube and this superstructure wondering, what they are doing there and why all their knowledge is inside that structure that doesn't belong to them. There is one of the characters that says like, oh, I helped to build this. I was like just a contract, and well, suddenly, I built it. Yeah, but I was not aware of it, no? And I think that there's like some sort of correlation with how we, the users of these systems, because because we contribute to use this system without fully understanding the implication or the purpose of them. And that's all. Thank you that's all. Yeah, thank you for staying. Ya está. Y you want to try it? Muy bien. ¿Me quito esto?